Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today is a good day, and I'm going to show you why. We finally got the 920 Elite back from Ride Hide Graphics. They did the wrap, and I say finally, they really didn't take long at all. In fact, when Todd with Ride Hide called today, I was actually really surprised that he wanted me to come pick up the boat. So really stoked. That leaves plenty of room to wait for the rest of the equipment to be delivered to bassboatelectronics.com so we can get everything rigged. Because as you can see, we've got no electronics, no trolling motor, no power poles. We don't even have any batteries in the back. We don't even have our pro guides in there. What we do have is an Atlas jack plate in the black, which I think is pretty slick, easier to clean too. And of course, our beautiful, powerful Mercury engine. So yeah, so I'm pretty stoked to have this here. And you know, it was honestly the first time that I'd take the cover off and got to see how it felt, you know, because this is the 920 Elite as opposed to the 921 Elite that I've been running the last couple of years. And so I've been running a 21-foot model, you know, for I think 5 or 6 years now, you know, even going back to when I was running the Nitro. And so I was a little bit worried that it would feel way too small for me. I'm a big guy, so I was a little bit concerned that, man, it just wouldn't feel the same and it would be a big difference. But honestly, it doesn't feel that bad. It definitely is smaller, you know, it's definitely shorter, but I've walked up there, you know, once or twice now, and it actually feels really good. And we're going to get into that, but I wanted to do a video just kind of walking through this boat because rarely do I get to do a boat walkthrough before we have the trolling motor and all the, you know, the extras on here, the power poles and the electronics and all that stuff. And so I just wanted to focus on the boat, because if you guys are looking to get into a Phoenix boat and you just want a walkthrough of the actual just boat itself, I wanted to make sure that you had that video to watch. So we'll go ahead and probably just start from the outside. We'll just walk around the boat. A lot of the stuff is pretty much standard if you've been in a Phoenix before, and some of it's actually new. I was actually surprised at some of the things that are new for this this boat this year, and I'm pretty stoked on a couple of the changes. So anyways, we'll start on the back here. So we've got the Mercury Pro XS 250. That's going to be pushing the 920 a lot faster, it should, than like the 921s that I've been running. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go to a 920. Not the primary reason. The primary reason was because I feel like a 20-foot model fits my style of fishing, you know, shallow water power fishing a lot better. It's going to be easier to push pole around and shallow, you know, grass flats, and also easier to maneuver around docks and things like that. Going against the grain with what's popular out there with forward-facing sonar these days in tournaments, but fits my style better. So I wonder where a sycamore leaf came from. So we got the Mercury on the back here. I'm thinking we're probably gonna, based on reports from other guys, it's probably gonna be able to push us around the 75-mile-an-hour mark fully loaded. With the 921 Elite, it was more like 70, 71 fully tournament loaded. But I think we're gonna be able to get to that 75. Yeah, so we got that. We're gonna get a prop on it and get this broke in as soon as we get everything else on here. We got the Atlas jack plate. That was one of the extras that I put on here this year. Of course, I can't, you know, I've been running the Atlas. I'm sure the Bob's jack plate runs excellent as well, but I've always run an Atlas jack plate. So that's what we stuck with. One thing I'm going to point out with Phoenix, and one of the things that I really love about Phoenix and their kind of attention to detail and also redundancy. There's a few things on this boat that you'll notice are a little bit redundant and to the untrained eye a little unnecessary. But one thing I love about Phoenix is they're one of the only boat manufacturers that I know of that doubles up their bolts on the transom here. So Usually you have one bolt on each side on the top and then one bolt on each side on the bottom. But on the top here, you can note that there's two on either side, which for rough water, you know, competition days, that is a big deal, or just rough water in general. That to me is a big deal. And I remember this may have been something that they ended up doing standard. I know that they've been doing it standard since I've been running their boats, but I think it may have been because of one time that you know, Aaron Martins, you know, rest in peace, you know, ended up breaking one of those bolts. And I think that being the factory that or the company that they are, you know, learning from things, you know, based on their pro staff on the water, they ended up going ahead and saying, hey, let's go ahead and add another bolt. I don't know if that's the case. I haven't asked them, but I would bet it's because of some of the feedback from their pros, which I really appreciate from Phoenix. And I can see right here, they also did the same thing where the engine attaches to the jack plate. Again, little detail. I'm sure that there's other manufacturers now that do that, but to my knowledge, I feel like Phoenix was one of the first to do 2 bolts on the back. Again, I'm okay if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Yeah, so that's here, back here. Not a whole lot more to talk about on the stern here. We will open up the bilge here. If you're not familiar with Phoenix, pretty standard. You have these little trays here. I usually put tools, spare you know, hardware for, you know, the prop system. Usually have an extra hub in here and all that stuff. Tow ropes, things of that sort. Plenty of space for everything you need. We're going to be putting the Pro Guide charger over here on the back wall. We've got, previously we've been running 5 battery system and still have room for the spare prop. But this year we're actually getting rid of 1 battery, which I'm really stoked on. We're going to be running 2 36 volt 50 amp hour Pro Guide lithium batteries for the trolling motor system, and then we're going to be running 2 Group 31 AGMs for the house battery and the cranking system. So, but we'll be getting into that power system a little bit more when we start rigging it. But plenty of space for all that. You got your prop holder right here. And yeah, we'll probably put the trolling motors on that side. Actually, we may try to move things around and disperse the weight, because the AGMs are pretty heavy. The lithium batteries are not heavy at all. But yeah, pretty good amount of space in there. Easy to work on stuff. Just always appreciate that stuff. I think that's the way it goes. Nope. Nope. Did it backwards. There we go. All right, moving forward. Of course, the trailer, it's got that, I think it's called gator hide finish on it. Real durable, looks really good. It's painted over. You know, to me, it's a very functional, good-looking trailer that's very durable, and that's all I really care about. Looks really good and functions as it should. I've got the twin axles here. I think it's, yeah, 1 set of brakes on the back, so the back axle has the brakes. I believe this is the standard wheel package. I didn't end up getting a upgraded wheel package, just because, again, I'm trying to lower the cost overall on things. We'll get into all this in a second here. All right, you got the spare tire right there. F2 winch on the front. This winch has never failed me in any of the boats that I've had it in the past. So that's nice. And then, of course, since I've started putting the trick step on my boats, I'll never have another boat without a trick step. So we'll use that to get up here. So here we are on the bow. I love the way that they set up the bow on these Elites, and it has changed a little bit. So one thing I will notice is we talked about redundancy a little bit before. I love that Phoenix has the option to have the traditional post red and green, light, navigation light on the front, as well as the built-in ones that are on the side. So I actually have a plan A, B, and C when it comes to my lights. I actually carry a battery-powered set of lights that I can tie to the pole on the back for the white light, and then one that I can do the same for the front navigation lights. And but it's really nice that built in, I already have 2 different options. Okay, so that should cover everything. But the big change up here on the front is the fact that you've got this access panel where you can double stack your electronics on the front here. But instead of it being, they used to have like this vinyl rubber fake leather stuff on the front here. Now it's just straight fiberglass, which is more durable. I think is going to look better over time. And I think it's cleaner overall. So I really like this. We're actually not going to be using this stock panel up here on the front. We're going to be using the Bass Boat Technologies stacker mount for the 2 electronics that we're going to be putting on the bow, which I think is the overall way better way to do it. Bass Boat Technologies to me is just the best mount out there. Very well thought through, but this right here is pretty solid. I'm pretty stoked. I was stoked to see that when I took off the cover. So fiberglass I think is a really good move for up here especially, but we also have fiberglass on the console, which I'm going to show you pretty soon here. Moving back here, so one thing I want to mention is my biggest fear of moving over to the 920 from the 921 Elite is the fact that I was a little bit worried about the space up here on the front. But honestly, sitting here, yeah, you could tell it's a little bit shorter, but it really feels wide. It actually feels wider than the 921 Elite, but I think that that's kind of an optical illusion. I don't think that it actually has a wider beam, but it feels wider, which is nice. And so overall, I don't feel like I'm compromising anything going down a little bit in size. So yeah, if you're wondering how that difference would feel, and it really doesn't feel all that different. All right, so coming back here, you can see I've still got the dual straps. That's one of the add-ons that I decided to stay with. I love having those dual rod buckles. So a little bit of a redundancy. So if one, the internal mechanism or something that I can't get to breaks, I have another one on hand. But also, in rough water, you put your rods down, double strap it, holds it a lot better. So, redundancy for, a backup, but also having extra stability, to tie everything down. So I did that on both sides. Also did the slam lids, slam latches, which I really like, so you don't have to worry about co-angler or yourself, anybody, leaving one of these open and stubbing your toe, breaking something, which I've done before. And that's just another one of those special features that once I got it once, I was like, yeah, I'm never going back. I just love those slam lids. Over here, this is the rod box, by the way. So got rod box with the rod organizer. Right now it's got the windshield and butt seat. I actually take out the rod organizer because it only holds 12 rods. And I usually carry 35 fully rigged rod and reel setups in my boat when I'm tournament fishing. So I just take that out and then put it back in for whoever buys the boat next. And then on this side, I generally carry all my safety gear. I usually carry all my my emergency bag with first aid, flares, all that stuff. Usually put the fire extinguisher in here as well. There's a lot of stuff, you know, extra life jackets, all that stuff. You can see got the backup light post there, as well as the primary white light post for the back. And then I got another butt seat. I wonder if that's a change, if they went from a regular seat to 2 butt seats. I'll have to ask them about that. That's different. But yeah, plenty of space in there. This is a day box, so you got this nice deep tray that's perfect for all the soft plastics you're going to use in a day. And then of course this nice open area, you can use it as a cooler, you can use it as a storage container. I use it for my bulk plastics, but that has an LED light and everything in there. I believe it's insulated, so you can use it as a nice cooler. All right, so the center console. So the big difference between the 920 Elite and the 920 Elite 2, or any, you know, Elite versus the Elite 2, is the fact that the Elites, just the one Elite, has the single rod box or storage box, as opposed to the dual, you know, sectioned off boxes on the front. Which I like. I like having this just big, open, cavernous space. I don't like having those partitioned boxes. So yeah, really like this in here. Another worry that I had going down to the 920 was that I would really feel the lack of the reduction in space in here. Honestly, I do not. I'm gonna have to go back and check out my 921 Elite that's still in the garage, because it doesn't feel that much smaller, to be honest. I know it's a little bit smaller, but yeah, so plenty of space in here for like 3700 tackle boxes and your 3600s. This is another add-on that I continue to add on to my boats, because I've just fallen in love with this thing. But it's a, you know, sliding organizer. The one worry that I had when I first was asked if I wanted to add this onto my boats was that this thing would just, you know, slide off the rails and you know, just in rough water, just be all over the place. It doesn't do that. It stays put. You can take it out, you know, but I've never, even fishing up north on like the Great Lakes and stuff, I've been in some really rough water. This has never been an issue, and it organizes my tools really well. I have some, you know, soft plastics and other stuff that I keep in there for certain tournaments. So that is actually an add-on that I highly suggest. But yeah, that's the center box. Of course, you got your little foam, you know, you just put your baits on there that you're not using, but you want to use in a day. One suggestion I will make, I think that they, all the other boats that I've had, they just glue this. This is kind of like an adhesive 3M type deal that glues this on. I would suggest putting just an extra, you know, screw or two in here, just as insurance, because when it gets really, really hot sometimes, and you've got a bunch of baits on here, sometimes that will pull off in that heat. That adhesive just gets too pliable. Then you have your measuring board in the usual spot. Super easy to get to. All right, so let's move back here. The usual signature Phoenix co-angler rod box that for me has never been a rod box. Never put any rods in these. I actually use it for my tools. So I put my tool boxes and spare parts and all that stuff here, because then I can access it from the outside very easily without having to get into the boat. Still a very functional, you know, container there. And then you can see we've got one of the speakers for the sound system, stereo. And then here you've got some of the other signature Phoenix, you know, organizers. You got these trays that pull out. You got extra space under here. This one over here. This all hasn't really changed over the years with Phoenix. It's the same as it's been since, I think, like 07 or something like that. Organizer over there, just so you know, that was the seat. It wasn't me. See? Even though my wife will tell you, I'm a flatulent guy. Got the cooler here, and you've also got this cool little ledge right here that you can put your sandwich so it doesn't get all, you know, it doesn't get all wet and condensated from the ice. So, and then under here you got the hot foot, pretty standard, and then you got the other speaker. It's not necessarily my favorite place to put the speaker, but it does work. But when I'm running, I don't feel like I hear it quite as well. But here is the big deal here at the console. Again, just like on the front, I was, you know, I thought that that like rubberized vinyl fake leather, you know, shroud that they have on the front was okay, but I feel like over time it kind of, it just doesn't quite, it's not quite as easy to clean. And I just didn't feel like it over time it weathered as well. But here we go. Made a big switch, and they used to have that fake leather here, but now it's just straight fiberglass, which I think is a big plus for durability and just overall, you know, the you know, length of the life of the boat. I think it's just going to wear better. So that is really cool that they did that. I thought that was just on one of the new boat models that they started doing the fiberglass shroud here. But yeah, I guess they're doing it on a lot of their boats now. You can see here they got this cool little access port for all your electronics, cables and plugs and all that that they've added on there. I think that's really nice. You can just mount the gimbals straight to the dual electronic shroud here, or you can you know, do like something like the Bass Boat Technologies mount. That's what we're going to do. Again, I feel like it's a much better mounting system. So we're going to be doing one of the Bass Boat Technologies mount here on the dual shroud. But I'm, again, really stoked to have fiberglass shroud here. Got your gauges, got an Atlas gauge for the jack plate too. And then of course, I always get the pretty basic square SmartCraft gauge here. The primary functions for this are hours of the motor. RPM is especially useful when I'm braking in the engine, just keeping track of the exact RPM range for break-in, the 2-hour break-in process. And then also fuel mileage, you know, keeping track of your fuel usage on a tournament day on a long run, super important. And that's something that I use this a lot for. So yeah, we added that on there as usual. Got blinker trims, all that. All right, so here we go. We got just that basic switch panel. I love it. I love the basic switch panel. Let me tell you, everybody, all these other manufacturers are switching over to these digital touchscreen, you know, touchscreen deals for all the functions of the boat. It's awesome when it works. Believe me, I've had some of those on some other boats before. But when it doesn't work, when that computer goes out or something goes wrong, you can't just fix it by you know, finding a switch and rewiring it. You just can't do that. So I really appreciate how they've really maintained this simple you know, switch panel, and I just find it a lot easier to work with. Also have the Kicker Bluetooth stereo here, which is really nice, and I already showed you the 2 speakers, one down there and one right there. Got multiple plugs here around the shifter. You got just a regular like lighter style one, 12 volt. You've got 2 USB ones right here, and then you got one that I think is just for the stereo system, USB and an audio input right there. Cup holder, cup holder, cup holder. Come on, 3 cup holders is more than enough, I would think. Seat looks really good. I love the black and silver accents on this seat. Very comfortable seats that Phoenix have. And then the center console here. This is where I put a lot of stuff like sunglasses, my wallet, all this different stuff. Yeah, nothing really different there. One thing I will mention is one of the extras that I passed on this year was the sea deck console or you know, cockpit area. I just went back to regular carpet for cost reasons, and also I like the carpet. I feel like it's easier to clean with a pressure washer without like burning the sea deck. I've done that before where, you know, I just ended up getting too close with it. But yeah, went back to carpet. We got the net holder right there. That's something that Phoenix designed that I think a lot of people love. And yeah, going back here, got live wells. And somehow we got water in there. Well, I know how we got water in there. It's from the on the water tests that Phoenix does. They put these boats on the water and just test all the functions and all that. And so we got a little bit of water in there from that. The live wells work excellent in these Phoenix boats. I've had such great luck with you know, keeping my fish alive in these live wells. Never had an issue, so nothing really to report on that. Got these nice glassed-in boxes. They just look good and super functional. Lots of space, even in the 920. Comes with that Cull kit. And this box, I always just keep manuals and stuff like that. This side's the same deal. Big cavernous, well-drained lid. And gosh, guys, I think that's pretty much it. So anyways, I know that this has been kind of a long video, so I'm going to just go ahead and quickly wrap it up. But if you guys have any questions at all about the 920 Elite or just the Elite line in general from Phoenix, I've run several of them now and really got to get to know them. So please drop any comments or questions that you have in the comment section. So thank you guys so much. If you want to check out the Phoenix Bass Boat, visit your nearest dealer or phoenixbassboats.com. I'm going to see you out on the water. Make sure you trust the process.